All right, on prefactoring practice part 1, you need to know two things before we begin. First, you need to know what a quadratic is. So when we're talking about a quadratic equation, it is an equation with a degree of 2. That means the highest power is 2. So it has x squared as its leading term when you write it in standard form. Now the standard form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. A is the number or the coefficient in front of x squared. B is the number, also known as the coefficient of x. And C is the constant. So the constant is the number without a variable. Okay, on these problems, it asks you to list off what A, B, and C are. So you look at this problem right here. This problem is written in standard form, meaning it goes with its leading coefficient, leading term first, which is the one with the highest power of squared, then the x, then the constant. So A is the number in front of x squared, so the number in front of x squared is 2. So A is 2. B is the number in front of x. So the number in front of x is not just 5, you've got to include the sign, it's negative 5. And C is the constant, and the constant is negative 7. So now it asks you, it says, what multiplies to AC? So they're saying A times C. A is 2, C is negative 7. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. So you were looking for what multiplies to negative 14 and adds to your B value. Your B value is negative 5. Now, if you need to, sometimes you can do this in your head, but sometimes you'll need to actually list things out. So when I think about what multiplies to negative 14, first I think about the things that multiply just to regular 14. 1 and 14 and 2 and 7. Now, if it's multiplying to a negative, one of the numbers must be negative. So I have all of these options. So I have 4 different pairs. All of these multiply to negative 14. Now, out of these pairs, which one adds to negative 5? So that's all I'm looking for. So the one that adds to negative 5 is 2 and negative 7, because 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. There's the multiply. 2 plus negative 7 is negative 5. There's the adding to negative 5. Okay, and then in this box, I want you to write your problem in expanded form. So what you're doing with this problem is you're starting with the equation you had. You had 2x squared. Then you had the minus 5x. I'm going to leave that blank for a second. And then at the end, you had a minus 7. So why we found those two numbers is because we are finding the perfect way to break up this middle term, negative 5x. So using those two numbers. So our two numbers were 2 and negative 7. So we're going to have plus 2x because it was a positive 2 and minus 7x because it was a negative 7x. And do you see that in the middle here, although it looks different, plus 2x minus 7x is still the same as negative 5x. So this standard form right here, the 2x squared minus 5x minus 7, is technically the same. It looks different, but its value is the same as this expanded form. So we're learning how to expand it. Let's try another one together. So first, you go here. This is in standard form. So we look for our A, B, and C. Our A is the number in front of x squared. We do not see a number written there, so that means the number in front of x squared is 1. The number in front of x, it's a minus x, so it's a negative 1x. And then the C is the constant, which is negative 12. So it says what multiplies to AC. So you do A times C. A is 1. C is negative 12. 1 times negative 12 is negative 12. And adds to B. B is negative 1. So what two numbers multiply to negative 12? Well, that could be a negative 1 and 12, or a 1 and negative 12, a negative 2 times 6, or a 2 times negative 6, a negative 3 times 4, or a positive 3 times negative 4. Those are all the options that can multiply to negative 12. So now out of those, which one is going to add to negative 1? That will be these two. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, and 3 plus negative 4 is negative 1. So when you write your problem in expanded form, the beginning x squared and the ending minus 12 stay the same. That did not change. So we have x squared and we have minus 12. But instead of the minus x, we use our two numbers, the 3 and the negative 4. So we have plus 3x minus 4x, which if you notice, those two numbers still simplify to minus x. So these two numbers still make a minus x, which is what we had here. So we're not changing its value mathematically, we're just changing how it appears. We're going from standard form to expanded form. Let's try one more together. So on this problem, a is the number in front of x squared, so that's 4. B is the number in front of x. Notice there's not an x in this problem, so B is 0. C is the constant, which is negative 1. So it needs to multiply to a times c. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. It needs to add to b. B is 0. So things that multiply to negative 4 are negative 1 times 4 or positive 1 times negative 4, right? Or 2 times negative 2. So which one adds to 0? That's going to be 2 and negative 2. So remember, when we write in expanded form, we have the 4x squared and the minus 1. Now, this one's kind of tricky. Notice there's not an x in here, so you can think of this as 0x. So we're going to expand that by having plus 2x minus 2x, so which is the same as 0x. And we still want to expand it for what we're doing in the future on factoring.